Perfect. Recording started. So, hello and welcome to the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia. My name is Violeta Rivera. I am IAAC's admissions manager, and I want to thank you for being with us here for our open day. We will start our presentation with a quick introduction of the Institute and our work. And afterwards, the program directors will take the stage and they will present their individual programs. At the end, we will conclude with breakout rooms where you can join the breakout room of your program of interest, and you will get the chance to ask questions and chat live with the program's directors and the program's coordinators. My colleague Daniel Javines, who is the admissions coordinator, and I will also be available to answer any application programs questions that you might have. So let's get started. Once again, welcome to the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia. IAAC is an international center for research, education, digital production, and outreach, and we are located in the beautiful city of Barcelona in northeastern Spain. IAAC is devoted to inspire architects of change to envision, prototype, and impact the future. So for the past 20 years, we have evolved into an institute that is devoted to shape the future of our habitat for our society and building it in the present. So this basically means that we use speculation in order to imagine what the future might look like and how we can use that information to create change today. At IAAC, we approach design, architecture, and urbanism through a multi-scalar and a multidisciplinary approach to face the current challenges of our built environment. And we also work with learning by doing approach. That means that there's a lot of hands-on projects where we test our designs and understand their impacts. We work with advanced technology, it's in our name. We work with generative design, responsive design to the challenges of today, and we are also deeply rooted in a maker culture. So, as I mentioned, we are located in the fantastic city of Barcelona. It's a very beautiful city, but also a very important city to be if you want to study design, architecture, and urbanism. Barcelona is the birthplace of urbanism, as it was coined by Ildefons Cerdà in 1867. It was named the capital for innovation by the European Commission in 2022. It was the European Forest City. And next year, in 2026, we're very excited because we're going to become the world capital of architecture. So within Barcelona, IAAC is located in a very important innovation district called the 22@ Innovation District, which is a strategic space in the city that has a high concentration of knowledge-based activities, moving from an industry of production to an industry of innovation. Sorry. So since you guys are not here, now I'm going to give you like a little overview of the IAAC facilities. Starting with our main campus, which is the Pujares campus. It's over 2,000 square meters of space for research, fabrication, dissemination of advanced architecture and urban planning. So the building used to be a former ceramics factory, and today is a factory for ideas and projects. So this is where we have our main fabrication hall and space for fabrication for our students and our projects. Followed by that, we have the IAAC Atelier. The IAAC Atelier is over 1,000 square meters of open space dedicated to students where they can develop the research, organize presentations and demonstrations in a productive environment. This is also where we have a couple of classrooms as well and studio space for our students. And we have our Valdaura campus. This is a self-sufficient research center based in the Collserola Natural Park outside of Barcelona. It has 140 hectares of forest located in the Collserola Natural Park. And there we prototype self-sufficiency, looking at integrating fields of technologies with energy, information, and fabrication. So since you guys are from all over the world, I will share a quick video with you about Valdaura. Great. So on top of our campuses and the infrastructure within IAAC, we are also very, very proud members of FabLab, which is short for Fabrication Laboratory. We are part of a global network of over 1,700 Fab Labs around the world. And the mission of Fab Lab is to give access to tools and knowledge to people, to educate, to prototype almost anything. So being part of this network allowed us to apply our multi-scalar and multidisciplinary approaches in design and share it with others around the world. So now a little bit about IAAC engagement. IAAC is highly engaged with different academic and research institutes around the world. So we collaborate with high-ranking international education and research and innovation centers, including the MIT, the Massachusetts Institute for Technology, CETA, the University of Jeddah, which is our accrediting institution, the European Commission, and many more. We also participate in many international events. Some of them are listed here, but it's not a non-exclusive list. But for example, the Venice Biennale, June Barcelona, which just finished last weekend, Smart City Expo, and many, many more. And IAAC is also a research and development center. So I'll just give you a quick overview of the different projects that we manage. But IAAC is the coordinator or the manager of over 30 EU projects, including Horizon 2020, Erasmus Plus, and many others. And these projects focus in the field of advanced urban planning and architecture, intelligent cities, digital innovation, and citizen technology. We work with city models. So for example, the Fab City, which is to create locally productive but globally connected cities. In the collaboration with Fab City Foundation, we also a very strong point of research in IAAC is nature-based design and solutions to understand how nature and the environment that we live in can provide an ecosystem and services for everyone who inhabits those spaces. We also focus our research in large-scale 3D printing, including the Tova House, which was developed by our students in the 3DPA program. And then we also focus on rapid prototyping, especially with Fab Academy, but other programs here at IAAC. Another line of research is data and design. For example, computer-aided connectivity for urban design for the students that are doing, our urbanism programs, and inclusive and participatory cities. So this is a picture from one of the projects that was designed at IAAC. We finally work with interactive environments, such as open source fashion, which is basically the architecture that the body wears, and then interactive installations such as June Barcelona, which I mentioned earlier that just finished last weekend. Every year, students from our second year Masters in Robotics and Masters in Advanced Architecture program participate in this event with an installation where the main media is light. And as you might have seen by all the people that are joining this meeting, we are a very global community, an international community. So our student body represents more than 45 different countries around the world to create an incredibly multicultural and diverse group. And they come together with the IAAC staff, which is a multidisciplinary group of people from many different backgrounds, not only from where we come from, but also multidisciplinary, that we are motivated to shape a positive future in our planet. The IAAC Alumni Network expands from all over the world and connects people who have come through IAAC and are actively working towards a sustainable future. So basically everywhere around the world, you can find IAAC alumni. So that also makes us very, very international. Right, here we go. So we're going to get started now with the Masters in Advanced Architecture. It's directed by Areti Marcopolo and coordinated by Gabriele Jurevicude and Kevin Matar. Areti is going to present now this program.
Thanks, Violeta. Thanks for the lovely introduction. And although some technical problems have created a bit of frustration, I also want to extend a big hello, good morning, good evening from wherever you are connecting to. We're glad to have you with us. I am Areti, and I will present the Master in Advanced Architecture, which is actually the first master that has been created within IAAC. It is a program that it is concentrated at the intersection of digital revolution and the current challenges our planet and society faces today, whereas these challenges are economical, social, or of course, environmental. And there is a uniqueness in this program in relation to the curriculum. We have crafted the program and structured it in a way so that students could have the possibility to create their personalized agendas based on their interest, based on what they want to do in the future of their career. And therefore, there is a series of research studios. There is a series of optional seminars, as well as some obligatory classes that students can choose from the optional ones and then create their own agenda. The master program, as I said, is trying to give an answer to the current challenges, whereas this is related to urban growth, contamination, the fact that our building sector, one of the most contaminating sectors in the planet, as well as issues related to accessible housing, or even the fact that the amount of waste that we're generating within the built environment and related to the construction sector is so high that is actually affecting not only environment as an abstract notion, but it lands into our bodies, in the health of our cities and citizens. So answer that we're trying to give through the master is to combine design with expertises that come from different sciences and different disciplines: material science, computer science, synthetic biology, or digital manufacturing are some of the territories that we're working very close by. And as I said, we're trying to combine the design with science in order to provide novel solutions for how we can build, how we can design, so how we can inhabit as a society the future of architecture. As I said, it is an open structure program, and students are offered a series of seminars and studios to choose from. These are the main research studios, the three main research studios of the program. We're working from the material nanoscale to the building to the territorial scale. So the Urban Design is a research studio that is promoting the emergence of urban and territorial design solutions in different contexts. We're trying to respond to challenges that are different according to which territories we are operating in. The research cluster and studio of the self-sufficient buildings is trying to rethink how we can design buildings as more responsive organisms to the environment, to the energy, to the resources that we can find in place, so that in a way buildings become living organisms. And the digital matter research line is trying to rethink sustainability, decarbonization, and of course, new economic models through experimentation of new materials for architectural design and production. Some of the topics, or let's say the content of the optional seminars, range from experimental structures to collaborations that we do with institutes such as the Sagrada Familia and working with Gaudi's logics. We're also working on concepts related to ecological interactions, as well as technologies, not only algorithmic and computational design, but as well as immersive technologies, mixed reality, and synthetic biology architecture. In the second year, the students have the possibility to develop a thesis project. This can be individual or partnered in couples. Students not only are able to develop a project that could help them further in the career, but it's also a moment that students could come in contact with industry, existing research projects that we are developing, and be part of partnerships that help them to connect with. Again, there is a series of clusters. The students propose a topic, and then they are working with thesis advisors, and experts come from all over the world. The clusters are advanced manufacturing in architecture, algorithmic design, and dive into computation, bioarchitecture, which explores microbiology and living structures and architectural construction. Digital urban landscapes, that is trying to land into the scale of concepts of cohabitation and nature-based solutions. Interactive architecture is focusing on implementation of immersive technologies such as AR and VR, and how this could change the way that we interact and experience spaces. The materially responsive architecture is focusing on rethinking materiality from using industrial waste streams. Last but not least, timber architecture is focusing on understanding how decarbonizing materials such as timber could become the future construction material of architecture. The second year includes a series of experts that come from different disciplines. You will have the possibility to work with biologists, with computer scientists and architects, but this kind of multidisciplinary environment is something that is adding a lot of value, and it's also something very necessary for developing novel solutions for architecture. In the second year, there is also the proposal of a series of seminars related to industry, as well as technical seminars that support the development of the thesis project. We are also, as I said, focusing on a hands-on methodology. So you're gonna get your hands dirty for sure. You're gonna work between the physical and the digital continuously, and that feedback loop is opening great possibilities for the novel solutions that we are searching in our field. I'm not going to go through the tools and the software that we're using. This is something that you can find also in our booklet. Same goes for our collaborators and partners. However, I do want to finish by saying that usually when we do a master's, we're always interested to understand what happens after the program. And this is a compilation of alumni of the MAA that have been finding their paths in people that have been creating their own offices, others that they have been becoming experts in and continue their research in the people that they have launched their own startups, and also students that they have been leading novel departments in very big offices in the world. I think with that, it's just a short introduction, but we will have some more time to discuss out room. So I hope we can see you all in a while and share some more details on everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Areti. Areti, will you continue with MAI or should I go to MAEBB?
Is Angelos here connected?
There he is. Look, we called him. Perfect, guys. So let me share my screen really quick, and I am going to introduce you now to Angelos Kronis. He is the director, or the co-director, better said, of the Masters in AI for Architecture and the Built Environment. He's going to be presenting this program. So Angelos, let me make you a co-host, and then I will give you a screen, but you can start introducing yourself.
Hello, everyone. I think I joined right on time. Lovely to meet you all. Did you already make me co-host, or?
I just did, yep.
You just did, lovely. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my screen. Is that okay, or?
Yeah, that's more than okay. Let me stop sharing mine.
Surely.
Just 1 second.
Okay, so hello, everyone. Lovely to meet you. And thanks for joining this session. I'm going to be starting presentation. Let me know if you can see it.
We
All
can.
Yeah.
We can.
Lovely. Okay. So hi everyone, I'm Angelos Kronis. I'm one of the directors of the Master in AI for Architecture and the Built Environment. Together with Areti Markopoulou, we've started this Master's a couple of years ago. So this is the second year in. It's a very new Master's, and of course we're responding to a very important challenge of our time, the introduction of artificial intelligence in architecture. This is done in collaboration with Universitat de Lleida and the IAAC Business School, so one of the leading business schools of Barcelona. So it's not just a master's in architecture, it's also a certificate of business studies. I was going to very quickly give you an overview of what this is about, but of course, I think I don't want to introduce artificial intelligence. It's been everywhere these days, so the buzzword is out. What we're trying to do with the Masters is essentially responding to the challenges, the sort of like these challenges and opportunities that AI brings to architecture and design. And by equipping students, not just with the right skill sets, not just with the right sort of like knowledge of AI, but also more importantly with the mindset to understand and navigate this very complex new world of us. The important component of this Masters is that it is very well connected to the practice, and it's allowing in that way students to come in direct contact with the challenges that the practice brings. And it's very well aware of the significant changes in the career that have to happen in students and architecture students to be able to sort of like become this new sort of like AI-driven architect. And also it's a very important component for our masters, the entrepreneurial aspects, essentially not just building sort of like really cool projects, but actually understanding the value and being able to build new ventures, start startups, and engage with sort of an innovation in startups in the best way possible, so that you understand eventually the value that your work has. So very briefly, as I said, we're very well connected to the practice. We have like a number of industry partners that bring real-world applications to the masters. So we're trying to work with real-world problems and find solutions that can actually be applied. So getting out of masters immediately, being able to apply the solutions in our partners. We have a very interdisciplinary approach. We have computer scientists, sort of like environmental engineers, urban planners, architects, as well as industry leaders and cutting-edge researchers. So it's a very interdisciplinary space, and it is needed because AI is interdisciplinary per se. And as I said, it's very practice-oriented. So we have a number of partners that are bringing challenges, that they are also bringing opportunities for internships, and it allows students to participate sort of like in career in set up in kind of like career opportunities and participate in sort of like cutting-edge work environments which are AI-driven. Eventually, there is a very important concept of the masters, especially in the second year, that we try to get students to create ventures, to build startups, and to bring them in front of investors, to present ideas, potentially even get funded, and start a startup. I myself come from the architecture world, and I've recently like spun off a startup from the institute I was working, so I can tell you it's a very exciting journey to be part of. So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, we have a very diverse, very accomplished faculty. We're very forward-looking in the sense of like we're trying to do things differently. We're doing a lot of hackathons, workshops, but we also really focus on sort of like the skills and methods and tools that are needed to really change architecture in the way we understand it. I'm going to talk a little bit about the structure, what we're doing. Let me know if I'm good with time. I'll try to be fast.
We are at the 4-minute mark, but yeah.
Lovely, we're halfway, perfect, as I was expecting. So with 3 vertical themes that we are focusing on, which is the urban scale, urban tech, anything from mobility and energy to climate and urban analytics, anything that makes our cities more sustainable and livable, down to smart construction and essentially how we design and build robotics, digital manufacturing, materials, and BIM, and all sorts of like, data approaches that are needed in the construction sort of like value chain. And very importantly, nature, ecosystem, how do we bring nature? AI is not just about data, it's actually changing the way we also interact with nature and natural environments. So we're bringing them in cities, everything from urban agriculture to bio-inspired innovation and materials that respond to the environment. And we have also several objectives, horizontal, or we call them horizontal objectives, which essentially design has to be regenerative, has to really not destroy anymore nature, but actually restore. And so there's a lot of like adaptation policies and sort of like frameworks that we're trying to introduce. There's the concept of carbon neutrality, like trying to be less impactful, and very importantly, the co-design aspects of participatory design, bringing the user and the end user and the architect in one sort of like joint co-creation space. A little bit about the master's schedule. First year is mainly focused on teaching skills, methods. We got the industry partners bringing challenges, and we work on these challenges, and we're trying to respond to them or be informed by them. And we have a whole year where we start with a research studio, and then we have like a 2-semester sort of like practice studio, and it ends with a presentation of our results in a demo day, in a sort of like pitch day, and then there is the opportunity to join an internship directly from our industry partners in the second year, and then a thesis, which is the main component of the second year, that also leads to an accelerator program, happens near the end of the second year, where you actually take your ideas and you try to make a venture out of them, present a viable business model, and even present it to investors and hopefully get funded. What can you do when you join our program? You can, of course, become an architect that has changed the way they're thinking using AI. You can sort of like found a startup or join one. You can be a cutting-edge researcher in AI and architecture, and a design technologist, or even a strategist in architecture firms. So we're trying to give everything from learning how to code and building your own AI models to understanding the overview, the forecast of what AI brings to our industry. People are very important, and they're very sort of like well integrated in our sort of curriculum, but also tools and software, but also more importantly the partners. Here are all the partners that we're currently collaborating with. Most of them are offering internship opportunities. They bring challenges. We work with them and for them to essentially really get situated in practice, so our students have the ability to engage directly with our partners in this masters. There's a little video. I don't know if I have the time to play it, and I'm not sure if the sound will pass through.
I think we might not have.
Maybe I should stop and share again.
I think we might not have enough time for the video.
Okay,
in the breakout room, if you're interested, when we have it, if you guys are interested in this particular program, by the end of its presentation, we're going to go into breakout rooms and we can definitely play it there. But thank you so much, Angelos, for the introduction to the masters. I appreciate it a lot. I am now going to give the microphone to Michael Salka. He's going to present the Masters in Advanced Ecological Buildings and Biocities. This program is directed by Vicente Guayard and himself, Michael Salka, and coordinated by Sensei Neb. So Michael, you should be able to share your screen now. I'll stop sharing now.
Great. Thank you, Violetta. Let's see. Okay, everybody see my screen pulse? Yep, great. Get to it then. So thanks everybody for listening in. As Violetta mentioned, my name is Michael Salka. I'm one of the co-directors of the Master in Advanced Ecological Buildings and Biocities. MAEBB, we'll call it for short, because the full title is a bit of a mouthful. The MAEBB's a really unique program with respect to the world overall, but also with respect to IAAC, partly because we occupy this Valdara Labs campus that you're seeing pictured here. Also, in that we build a full-scale building every year. IAAC's all about learning by doing, but I believe that we're the only program that each year builds a full-scale structure. So if that's something that appeals to you, I'm going to show you more about how that happens. To begin, the Valdara campus is not just the building that you saw pictured, but it's actually these 140 hectares of forest that Violetta mentioned that are in this red line here. It's not far from the center of Barcelona, only about 10 kilometers, but a world apart in the way that it feels. It's much more of a rural kind of environment. So these videos should give you a sense for what life is like here at Valdara. It's an immersive experience. Most of our students choose to live at the lab, and it's something that we encourage because this allows you to spend all kinds of hours with your peers who come from all around the world to learn about their backgrounds and their traditions, but also learn about how the entire metabolism of life happens at our campus. That goes from growing your own food to taking walks in the forest to, of course, the studying and working that's part of the curriculum. We run two related programs like most of the other masters. We have the 10-month MAEBB 01 that starts in October and ends in July. That's divided into these three phases. First off, an introduction to self-sufficiency, everything that we do our lab to mimic the way that we think the circular bioeconomy can work the world over. And then through a large-scale integrated urban building design in a studio setting, and finally with the full-scale building design and construction. We're also teasing the idea of an optional collaborative project at another foreign location during August to be determined. Then beyond that, there is the 6-month thesis extension for people who are interested in doing a more independently driven project, the MAEBB 02. Like the other programs, we will pair you with an expert supervisor and a topic of your choice that corresponds with the mission and values of Valdara Labs and the MAEBB program, and guide you through developing a thesis, testing that thesis through prototyping, and creating some kind of package that can be a great segue into a entrepreneurial career or research career or a PhD. This again is the main Masia or Catalan farmhouse that is the headquarters of Valdara Labs. It has a deeply historic character, though it's been renovated inside to feature both this digital fabrication lab, fully fitted with CNCs, laser cutters, etc., as well as this carpentry lab that has the more conventional industrial woodworking tools. Together, these labs mean that what we call Valdara Labs doesn't end at the walls of that building. As I mentioned, we have these 140 hectares of forest, and really those ecosystems are part of the lab. We operate all kinds of different degrees of intervention, whether it's the working within controlled settings or the agriculture that happens on our terrace, or understanding how ecology happens in a more naturalistic setting in the forest and how that can inform the way that we build or provide materials for our buildings. So we emulate these cycles. I used the phrase circular bioeconomy earlier. This is the process of eliminating waste from the system, finding every possible opportunity to take something that would normally exit our control and bring it back in as a resource. That can be water, energy, things like manure for compost, every opportunity to give more value and more cascades or uses to these objects. So the way that we do things in our lab emulates exactly how we see these greater trees of diffuse circular systems working in urban settings. And when I say we, that starts with hopefully you as the student body. Like IAAC programs overall, we're very international, usually as many students as there are nationalities represented in the cohort, between 15 and 25 individuals each year. And we appeal to a diversity of backgrounds, including architects, designers, engineers, urbanists, but also ecologists, biologists, activists, et cetera, that tackle this interdisciplinary theme of both ecology and the built environment. And once this amazing worldly team arrives at Valdara, one of the first things that we do is to understand the forest and again, how we can extract materials that we'll use for buildings in such a way that actually makes the forest a healthier place. So we work with expert ecologists to find individual trees that we can harvest. And then we go through the entire process of recording everything we can about those trees before we make interventions, knowing that that data is lost once the tree is changed. So we try and capture everything we can about it, sometimes for very specific scientific reasons, sometimes just for aesthetic exploration. And then we operate an entire value chain on site, transforming those raw logs into high-tech engineered timber products like cross-laminated timber. And because we're doing all this ourselves, you understand intimately every step of the process, and then we can also tell stories. We can diagram the embodied carbon. We know every transformation in the sequence, and we can use it as a narrative to create some kind of sense of connection between the forest, the material, and the architectural space. We do that with things like augmented reality, for instance. And we still integrate also these time-honored traditions like passive design, passive heating and cooling, and solar exposure, and trying to optimize these through digital modeling. So understanding exactly how much solar radiation we're getting on all the surfaces and how adaptations in geometry can affect that kind of radiation so that we can create these optimized metabolic systems. What are usually called utilities in a building, we refer to as metabolisms because we're really talking about the processing of energy and matter to sustain life. So that involves integrated circular water and energy systems, but also information. Even though many of the projects that we build are autonomous, they're self-sufficient, they're not connected to greater physical infrastructures, they're not isolated. They're connected by information and the ability to communicate with larger systems and share resources. Speaking of circles, if you're not dizzy yet, we try to also incorporate the idea of circularity and reuse into the structures themselves. This begins from the very beginning with our foundations, using things like local stones instead of concrete to reduce carbon, but also so that we can demount these structures and leave nothing but natural objects in their place. Through the waste systems like composting or vermiculture toilets, for instance, and through all of the layers of the building, as well as recycled insulation, recycled rubber membranes, so on and so forth. Even the way that we treat our individual elements, we try to avoid any sort of toxins that would make them more difficult to decompose or repurpose. So we do that by employing techniques like Shaosugiban or Yakasugiban to prevent moisture or pest infiltration in our wood. And we always try to combine sort of the best of high and low tech to get to the most appropriate result. So sometimes that's working with our hands with all the carpentry tools, but often it is using robots or CNCs to achieve geometries or things that we couldn't otherwise, especially when that kind of digital optimization makes new things possible. For instance, here we're running a script to clad a round form with square tiles, which makes this achievable by a group of students in a short amount of time. And these processes have led us to, I think, some pretty interesting results, like the new house in 2019, which won the Design That Educates Awards. The bronze prize might not seem so impressive here, but it is when you consider that the gold prize was the Bjarke Ingels group. So our master's students are competing with these world-renowned architects. We also have the Vauxhall, a quarantine cabin using cross-laminated timber to create this kind of imposing exterior but welcoming interior, published in the New York Times. The solar greenhouse that produces the seedlings that we transfer to our gardens. We're glad to win the Monocle Smartest Student Project for this. Flora that you've seen pictured before. This is a ecological observatory with walkways surrounding this blind where people can hide to observe species that was done in collaboration with the biologist Meg Lohman, nominated for Building of the Year by ArcDaily last year. More recently, the MoCA, this transforming mobile cabin that opens to a very convenient living space as a mobile home, but has a diversity that allows it to also serve like a DJ pavilion or an exhibition stand in cases like this Manifesta scenario. We're glad to say that not only was this project nominated for Building of the Year, but we actually progressed to the final stage of the Building of the Year Art Daily competition just yesterday. And then most recently, we have this project, which might be a little less exciting from the outside because we're using principles of adaptive reuse with this existing brick structure here. But inside is totally new world. It's a house for our robot that will be one of the key tools that we experiment with going forward at the lab, and has this incredible Voronoi cell tree structure. But these small buildings don't end in themselves. These are all seen as ideas or prototypes that we can expand elsewhere. And we do that in various ways. Often our students are involved in public co-creation projects to improve outdoor areas of schools. We also do these large-scale visions for what we term Biocities, bringing up these ideas of biological design and integration to the urban realm in places where we see a lot of growth, like Africa and Asia. And then trying to develop the underpinning science with huge consortiums of universities and other experts that become part of the network of students when they graduate, as well as expanding the scope of education through networks like the New European Bauhaus. Okay. Of course, all that happens with the MAEBB is a team effort. We have some great sponsors as well as diverse faculty. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but at least one studio instructor or one pair that we're extremely proud of is Summa. They won the Mies van der Rohe for the best contemporary architecture in 24 with this cross-laminated timber library, and they're our studio leads that you'll get to work with. And with that, I'll say thank you. I'm not sure if I kept my 8 minutes or not, but hopefully close enough. Yeah, suffice to sign off saying that the integration of ecology with fabrication and architecture and design leads to a diversity of career paths in our program, and I'm happy to talk about more of those options in the breakout room.
Fantastic, Michael. Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. So we will continue now with the Masters in Advanced Computation for Architecture and Design. This program is directed by David Andres Leon, and it's coordinated by Laura Ruggeri. This is a program that happens 100% online, so it's a virtual program. I'll give the floor now to David Andres Leon. David, you have your 8 minutes to introduce the Masters.
Thank you, Violeta. I'll try to stick to the time as much as possible.
You want me to let you know when you have like 2 minutes left?
Okay, great. That'd be helpful. Thanks.
Awesome.
You need to stop sharing so that I can, I think.
Yeah, let me stop sharing now.
All right.
Stop share. There we go.
Okay. Just a quick check that you can see my screen. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Hi guys. Welcome to the Open Day. It's again a pleasure to be here with you to talk a little bit about our master's program, the one that I proudly direct with Laura Ruggeri, who's here with me, the program coordinator and the director, David Andres Leon. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about this 100% online accredited program that we call MACAD for short, which is the Masters in Advanced Computation for Architecture and Design. Our goal mainly focuses on training a new generation of experts with the skills that the AEC demands today, and that involves a few topics. We are talking about advanced computation for environmental and structural design. That's the first module. We're talking about building information modeling, smart construction, artificial intelligence in architecture for sure, and then a thesis which spans from October to December, where you can actually put into practice all of the things that you learn in the masters by the hand of our industry collaborators. Let me tell you a little bit about the logistics first before I jump into the content. We managed to reach out to the whole world by basically splitting our masters into two formats. We have a synchronous format where you get to attend to our lectures and live mentoring sessions live, as well as always be incorporated into the online campus platform, and also an asynchronous format, which allows you to look at the lectures in a recorded fashion, and also always attend the live mentoring sessions live, along being included in the online campus platform. This is just a little bit of an idea of what does this look like in practice, week to week. If you're a synchronous format, you would be joining us 10 to 1 more, give or take, Barcelona time, and whatever that means in your own country. And for the asynchronous format, you would have to attend in, let's say, 5 to 6 or 7 give or take 4 to 6, let's say in Barcelona time. And that would also, whatever that means, whatever the translation for you in your own time. This is a full online campus experience, which we really make an effort that you actually enjoy, not like an online course, but that you actually become part of a community of students and professionals from throughout the world. We're very proud to incorporate many different backgrounds from different parts of the world. Huge diversity of professionals coming from architects, designers, developers, computer and data scientists. This is something that keeps amassing every year and we are really proud about. And also quite proud to have an amazing roster of faculties that are experts in each of the topics that we impart in the masters. Having the luck of being able to reach out to all of the world, we have actually been able to create an amazing network of professionals that are going to be there to support you day to day in your studies, and of course after your studies, which is great. This is some of the names of the collaborators that we work with. You'll recognize some very prominent names there for sure. But I think most importantly, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the content of what you can expect to learn in the masters throughout this year or year and a half if you choose to take the second part as well. The masters, as I said, is divided into these 3 topics, which subdivide into different seminars where you're going to learn the technical skills regarding these topics, and a studio and a theory course for each of these modules. The first module, which deals with advanced computation for environmental and structural design, speaks about the generation of form, environmental analysis, and structural optimization. Here, you're going to learn the basics of parametric designs and algorithmic thinking, along with exactly what you need to know to actually assess the building for structural optimization and environmental analysis when it's placed in the context. All of this is actually put into practice in a studio that runs along every week in the course, where you get to develop a project where you get to apply all of these different technologies that you learn in the seminars. We're very focused in the topic of building generation and the topic of parametric generation and analysis and optimization of these buildings, along with all of the tools that are required to actually, make this happen, analyze them, visualize them, and make them real and useful in the end. Building information modeling as mass construction module, which is the one that runs from January to March, is composed of 3 main seminars and, of course, a studio and a theory course as well. The integrated modeling seminar teaches you the very fundamentals of BIM through Revit, and also how to basically translate this huge complexity of the buildings into a BIM environment. The cloud-based data management course, which I teach, teaches you how to basically bring these complex definitions into the web by giving you imparting notions of web development and all that it takes to actually bring these projects to away from your local environment. And collaborative workflows actually teaches you how to tackle the challenge of collaboration in the practice, which is of course, if you're in practice, it's a thing. Through learning Speckle and other tools that are very hype and trendy today, you can actually learn how to do this. Of course, again, this is all applied in a studio project where the students get to actually document in a BIM fashion and intercollaborate and actually bring all of this complexity that we teach into an actual BIM format eventually.
We have minutes.
Thank you. I think I'll make it. Finally, the artificial intelligence and architecture module teaches you the basics of generative AI and how to basically train your own LoRa's models or your own large language models to fine-tune them for customization. We have a data encoding course, which teaches you basically the basics of what you need to know for machine learning and in order to become kind of a data scientist in a way. The basics of data science so that you can actually apply this in architecture. And the graph machine learning course, which actually brings this novel and very provocative field into design in the very different scopes and scales. This again is all applied in a development project where the final result is always a platform that you can use. And I think finally, maybe more importantly, the master thesis, which happens from December to January in the second year, is where you get to actually combine all of this knowledge and finally develop this in a practical scenario. Along with industry collaborators and partners, you get to actually tackle the problems in AEC and develop, for example, final tools like these two amazing interfaces where in one hand you can either, for example, converse to a BIM model through graphs or use building generation to actually query different parts of the model. And these are all deployed in the web in a web application that it's actually made for consumption. We have many publications year to year. We're very proud about that. We are making a collaboration in the research field as well. If you want to know more, you can of course join, follow us in social media where we continuously update our endeavors. You also get to come to Barcelona if you want, optionally for the MACAD reunion and graduation, because you're invited and you're part of this huge community of everything that you're looking at here today, even though if you're abroad. And of course, if you like to know more, Laura is going to share a link for you right now. But more importantly, we'll definitely love to talk to you in the breakout room a few minutes from now. So thanks a lot. I hope I didn't went too much over time today, and hope to see you in a few minutes.
Quite good. Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So here we go. Can you guys see my screen? Amazing. Yep. So now I'm going to introduce the Masters in Advanced Urban Planning and Data Analytics. To date, this program is known as the Masters in City and Technology, but it's going to change names pretty soon. Matilde Marengo, who is the co-director, along with Eduardo Rico Carranza, is going to tell you a little bit more about that in the breakout rooms. But I also wanted to mention that this program is coordinated by Isabel Lima. So Matilde, I will stop sharing my screen now, and you can go ahead. And then before we get started, also, thank you so much for your patience, you guys. We're a little bit behind schedule because of the tech problems that we had at the beginning. So I really appreciate your attention and your patience.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, Violeta. And I believe I'm sharing my screen now, if I'm not wrong. I will just put it on full screen. So I actually added a few slides in the presentation in order to be able to explain exactly the change of name, just so that we're all on the same page. So my name is Matilde Marengo, and I am one of the directors of the Master in Advanced Urban Planning and Data Analytics, which to date has been called the Master in City and Technology. As Violeta mentioned, the program is co-directed by myself and Eduardo Rico. It's coordinated by Isabel Lima, and we also have the support of coordination of Mauro Isarra, and the section dedicated to urban computation, which is an important one within the program, is directed by Jacopo Neri, who happens to be an MACT alumni, now MUPT. So the program, as most of our programs, can be done in a 10-month or 18-month format, changing from 90 credits to 120 credits. And we're currently running the 7th version of the program. So the program sits at the intersection between urban planning and data analytics. And the goal is that we use these two areas, these two disciplines, in order to best tackle the climate crisis, planetary urbanization within the context, of course, of advanced technological development. So fundamentally, to go a little bit deeper, data analytics, what do we mean there? We're looking at data collection, data cleaning, data transformation, of course, the analysis of data, its visualization, and the interpretation and decision-making relative to that. And that enables us to develop urban planning, which is advanced, evidence-based, data-driven, responsive, and enables us to enhance spatial justice and work with community and ecology enabling approaches. And therefore, in order to be able to better explain what the content of the program is, we decided to change the name from the Master in City and Technology to advanced urban planning and data analytics to better explain what it is in terms of cities that we're working on and what are the specific technologies that we're working with. And we do all of this, of course, in order to be able to design within the design with critical and data-driven urban planning. The program, as many of our programs, works in real context. So we're working from Barcelona and surrounding. We also have a specific focus on developing countries. We work with real data, both remote and locally sourced data, but also self-source and cross-reading. So looking at data collection technologies and techniques and understanding how we can work with both quantitative and qualitative data. And in that sense, we're working with real challenges, focusing on questions such as spatial justice, ecological justice, mobility justice, and new productive models. All of this with the goal, of course, of shaping adaptive and more than human urban environments towards resilient and circular cities and enabling innovative and equitable communities. To be able to do this, as many of our programs at IAAC, we are breaking the barrier between the world of education and the world of practice. We work directly together with specific leaders across the globe in research, practice, and education in order to be able to apply the innovative ideas that we develop in the program to real-world problems. So the program is, of course, industry-oriented. And in fact, the students, as you will see a little bit further on in the second year, do work directly with what we call partners from practice. In order to be able to tackle or develop the different data analytics processes that we were discussing earlier, we work with a set of different programs from QGIS Python, but also working with parametric design programs, physical computing and developer tools, but also AI tools such as Clip, ComfyUI, and Midjourney, as well as LLMs. All of this is developed in a series of different subtopics that enable us to divide in some way the first year of the program into 3 terms. The first term is dedicated to understanding the urban environment. We call that urban reading. The second term is dedicated to understanding how this approach of advanced urban planning enabled by data analytics enables us to empower the urban environment, the people engaging with the urban environment, or the ecologies within the urban environment. And finally, moving towards the third term, understanding how we can help to reduce certain vulnerabilities within this context, developing a series of spatial justice approaches. So in the first year, in the first term, we focus on digital cartographies within the studio, mapping the urban complexity in the Anthropocene. So understanding different approaches and different computational processes in order to be able to really represent the areas that we're working on, we're understanding through dynamic, multi-scalar, and multidisciplinary approaches. This is, of course, supported by a series of really engaging seminars, including Python for Urban Analytics, Digital Cultures, which explores the critical context, impacts, and trends of contemporary technologies within society today and culture today. Co-creating public space and designing for more than humans in public space, and of course, theories of the urban and emerging economies. Sorry about that. In the second term, as I was saying, we focus on empowering urban areas. So specifically empowering design, looking at creative data analytics for community-centered design, understanding how this can enable people to engage actively with their urban environment, designing their urban environment. And in the second term, we also have a series of seminars that support the work. So from digital tools for investigative methodologies, looking at investigative approaches through digital technologies, of course, apps for citizens, designing apps for citizens to be able to engage actively in their urban environment, transitional landscapes, theories of the urban, which continues, serious games, and agent-based design and machine learning 1. In the third and final term of the first year, as previously mentioned, we're focusing on urban vulnerabilities, and here we're looking at computer-aided inclusive urban design. So we're looking at how we can use novel methodologies for data analytics towards embedding intersectionality, inclusivity, and more than human perspectives into the design that we develop. And again, this is supported by a series of seminars, which you will have seen have already started either in the first term as the Theories of the Urban, which goes throughout the year, or in the second term, which is, for example, Digital Tools for Investigative Methodologies, Agent-Based Design and Machine Learning. And then we have some new add-ins such as web maps and digital storytelling, future cities, policy in developing countries, and innovative urban mobility futures. So just to give you a little bit of an image of what might come out of the program, you can see a series of different elements that are engaging here through collaborative, networked, and data-driven design. In order to accompany this process of very intense learning, we also organize a series of site and industry visits to enable the students to really engage with the network. In Barcelona, as Violeta was saying earlier, Barcelona is an incredibly active and interesting city and place to be, as well as an opportunity for then people to really launchpad into the local network. In the second year of the program, the students develop an individual thesis project. And in order to really ground these thesis projects in real world problems and make meaningful impacts, the students are followed by both advisors from academia as well as our partners from practice. The partners from practice, in fact, are placing certain concrete challenges on the table that they have identified within the industry. And the advisors from academia and the partners from practice enable the students in order to be able to develop answers to these challenges. The answers are usually set within the context of tools for city making, data empowered and just communities, climate adaptive ecologies, and circular and resilient cities. In parallel to this, the second year students also take place in a series of seminars that enable them to further develop certain technologies such as AI, machine learning, and mixed realities. These are done within a collaborative platform between our different master programs. And just to close up, a shout out to our MACT alumni. Within the context of academia, we have several successful papers published. We have also, within the context of policy and open data, a series of successful both pipelines that have been receiving awards, for example, the Barcelona Femtech Award or the Open Data Basque Country Award, but also that have been implied into actual planning tools such as the Plan General de Ordenación Urbana of Vitoria-Gasteiz. And finally, within the industry, we had recently the Smart City Expo earlier this year, where we have several MACT alumni presenting the work that they've developed within the MACT program. So we are a program for urban thinkers and doers. We combine urban design, urban planning, and data science and data analytics. So if you feel this way inclined, please feel free to join us in the breakout room afterwards. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Matilde. All right, so I'll try to do this introduction super fast. Thank you again for everybody for your patience. So the next master's that we're going to present is the Master's in Robotics and Advanced Construction, directed by Alexander Dubo and coordinated by Valeria Carrion. Alex, please stop sharing and you can take it away.
Thank you, Valeria. I'll try to be fast. Let's see if I can share the right screen. Do you see my screen?
It's loading. Perfect. We can see it now. So you have your 8 minutes. Do you want me to let you know when you have like 2?
Yeah, you can. I have a timer in front of me, but thank you, Violeta. Great. Thank you so much for your attention. I don't know if you still have some energy to listen another master program. I was very happy to see and hear all those previous programs with such, let's say, interesting content, but also like diversity in application. So we all believe in a different type of society that in a way or others design technology can challenge. And we believe here in the Master in Robotics and Construction that the focus on bringing all this technology at the moment of constructing our building have the potential to change dramatically the space we create, but also how we impact the planet. So this master is for people that want to focus on the design to production and the production phase of the building, and trying to understand what are the key challenges that the construction sector have and how we can remediate it from a design perspective, but also from a material or machine perspective. Technology will not save us. We have to be very, let's say, critical about it. And in this program, we will ask you to be critical about the technology, yet learn a lot of the technology by doing. So a lot of the projects you will be able to develop, try to touch on different type of design, different type of machine, different type of materials, so that you can explore how you can reinvent, or let's say, redefine the way we do construction today. We believe in a certain craft between robotics, digital tools, but also material, where we are close to this process, understand it so well that we can redesign those architecture and go a step further. So that's a bit the framework in which we work. We have divided, so we had the chance to teach robotic in different masters before, including the Master of Advanced Architecture, across many years before creating this master program that is tuned in a way to make it very easy for students to absorb as much as possible technology and explore the topic. We start with the first term that is about making, so how we go from this digital design that we have in our head, in our computers, and we materialize it. So how we go from design to fabrication into materializing those elements using robots and different type of machines. In the second term, we look at a different aspect of robotics that today is coming in the construction, is that we can sense or capture as many data, a lot more data actually that we used to have about the building, how it evolved, but also what is the base of the building we have, especially if we do renovation, we need to understand what are the base of our material, but also understanding how the process is happening. And if my fabrication follow what I expected, there's many change happening. So how we capture as much data and integrate this in our design process. The third term is more focused on how we make this interaction works in a much more agile way, how we can combine the craft or the knowledge of the people on the terrain with the automation of the machine and our digital tools. That's something that we believe there will not be a construction sector with only machine and robot and AI and all the technology you want, but a combination of the clever action of humans together with machines. So how we make this collaboration works is a key aspect that only in the third term we have the tools and technology to explore. So that's a general overview of the masters. We have then within this different seminars that allows you to explore those topics, especially in a doing methodology. So we give you a bit of theory, but you mostly practice with all the machine, all the tool, and especially all the assistant around you to make sure that you feel comfortable. A first vertical is about hardware, how we connect all those technology together, how we understand an actuator works, how the sensor works, how different interaction systems can combine together to develop your own fabrication process or learn the one that exists already. That's the one of the vertical. Another one is more focused on the software that you will use. Evidently, we use a lot of digital parametric design with computational tools from the architectural field, but we have other ones that come from the robot field, especially ROS, that you will learn to do, and also a lot of AI and machine learning, more based on Python and scripting, where you will be able to explore how these specific tools apply in the world of fabrication. Finally, we have during the whole year many short workshop of 1 week intensive where we invite a researcher or professional from the field to teach and to explain his point of view on technology in a hands-on workshop where you produce actually a prototype together with he or her knowledge. And this is very interesting. It's where you exchange as much as you can and you explore a very diverse set of programs, application, but also connect with industry. As a summary of the whole year, especially in the first year, you bring everything together into a studio project that try to envision how this can impact architecture, which kind of architecture you could do with it, but also you try to make a prototype generally within cubic meter of volumes. Could be an example of facade or pillar or structures that is done with this technology. So that's the first year, absorbing as much as you can and learning a lot. The second year of the program, the thesis is more oriented towards having an impact in the industry. So now that you know what is possible, what are the technology, what are the capacity of those new tools, you look at the sector of construction and architecture and trying to understand how this can be shipped. And it's something that's very difficult from student or academic point of view. That's why we collaborate a lot with industry partners. They are very curious also about this technology. They ask us continuously to have talents that help them to develop a robotic process and be sure that this works well. I'll present a couple of the collaborators with who we have actually students of the second year that go for an internship in the company, learn the practice and learn how this technology are working, and then come back to the to IAAC to develop a thesis that hopefully could be useful for the industry or in collaboration with the industry, or useful for the students to create his own startup or his own PhD. La Machina, for example, have been a huge partners for IAAC about 3D printing at large scale. Our in London is more about automated architecture with wood, trying to imagine a new type of social housing with this technology. We have a long-standing collaboration with the Hadid, where we have them also to set up, now they have a robotic cell inside the office in London, but also together with Circular Factory, we're setting up a robotic cell in Honduras to be able to build this entire wood construction. We had long collaboration with WASP about 3D printing at large scale. We work locally here with EURECAT, technology centers that have pushed the limit of different technologies. Nazca.ai, a startup created by one of the alumni of IAAC about sensing in the building industry. Ceramica Cumeia, that have an amazing world in ceramics, and we installed them a couple of robots to be able to make those buildings that you see in Barcelona. Or currently we're working with Etherwick on understanding how the craft could help to humanize this huge building. So that's it for the Master in Robotics. I hope that it give you a hint of what is possible with this technology and how we could shape architecture and the construction sector in a different way. Looking forward to hear from you. We can continue the discussion actually in the breakout room after, together with Valeria. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alex. Alex, I believe, will you continue with the 3DPA program?
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Let me load the right slide.
I don't need to do another introduction with the slide. Alex is actually the co-director of our postgraduate degree in 3D printing architecture. So he's going to continue the presentation about that program.
Do you see my screen?
It's loading. Yep.
Fantastic. So Edward would like to have been there today to present this very special program we have, that's a 3D printing in architecture. He's currently in the middle of a jury with other students, so that's why he couldn't escape. This program that directed by Edouard Cabet and myself, it's a very special program. It's a postgraduate that is thought about kind of a second year that could be combined with MAA, with MRAC, with MAEBB. Basically, we believe that once you learn the basics of digital fabrication, robotic, computational design, material, you can then go deep into 3D printing. So this program is for that. It's also open to students from other masters that have been done around the world, coming from different universities, and they come here to the specialties that at IAAC we've been developing. It was the first program about 3D printing in architecture. And along the 6 months of the programs, we go through the question of, like, can we think about a more sustainable, a more affordable, more also beautiful architecture that can be done with 3D printing when we get inspired by vernacular architecture. We combine it then with new technology and try to imagine what could be this architecture. That's something that is very special. It's a research we've been developing for more than, I think now more than 15 years inside IAAC. We're doing this in collaboration with WASP, a very important partners for us that provide us all the machine to be able to work at an extremely large scale. That's something unique. I don't think there's any other program in the world that can help students to actually work with 3D printers that are on a range of like 4 meter by, so it's 8 meter diameters by 3 meter height, with who we built entire construction. Students will have the opportunity to go through the entire process from understanding the material, defining your own material, your own machine, to be able to then design for this machine, then understand how to scale up the design from like small detail all the way to an full architecture. And then there will be even time for doing research and exploring those topics to be able to push the capacity of those printing process or this material, but also the geometry. And we believe the geometry have so much capacity to answer our problems in terms of thermal performance, structural performance, capacity to create ventilation. This is something we were not able to do before. And now we're capable to really design every detail of a building that can be 3D printed. Yet, something that everybody will learn going through this program, 3D printing doesn't allow you to do any geometry. You will have to somehow listen to the material, listen to the machine, and understand there's a certain limit of capacity, of shape, of geometry that can be done. And within these limits that us creative people and all the students joining us can explore where this can lead. And in this dialogue within the material, the machine, you can go very, very far. So that's something that is very attractive to us. And we have designed this program very specifically for students to learn as much as possible in 6 months and to be able to become independent in creating their own construction company or their own startup about 3D printing all over the world. Let me show you a bit in detail the program. We have divided in 3 phases. The first phase, we call it Techne, where we learn as fast as possible. It's 6 weeks intensive, where we go through different elements of development. Then we go into the phase 2, that is Explore. So when you have this knowledge, you try to push it into a direction or others and propose new solution that was not here before, new geometry, new material, new processes. And then in the third phase, all the students and faculty join forces into one big prototype that all together will construct a piece of a building all together. And in parallel, there will be also trying to understand what could be this architecture by looking at vision. The Techne phase is really this mix between craft machine and technology, where you learn more about computational design for 3D printing, how do you work with structure, how you integrate different material science, and how you scale up in terms of design. Within the research, you will look at how you can tune or adapt the 3D printing, so very specific, looking at how we deal with integration of fibers, or how we can have air ventilation inside, or how we will change the geometry according to the light or thermal performance. So it's a very scientific approach to design that can drive you very far. The matter is also something that you can understand, and you will see that with tools and material you can find around you, you could actually you can make a construction material that is very powerful. And then in vision is where you kind of explore what this could means in terms of architecture in the world. Here I really like this image because it comes from a group of students. One of it was actually not an architect. He came through IAAC to the math and robotics and the 3D PA and learned architecture with us in a very powerful way. And we're very glad because he succeeded to win the Econ Prize. That was the best affordable housing, 3D printable in United States. So something that we're very proud our students are capable to produce out of this knowledge. But I would say the key in this program is really the moment of construction, where we all together built this architecture. The terrain, like being on the construction site, is an experience that is really where you can learn the most. And there's so much to absorb by just being there, printing, understanding the construction step, and being able to produce this fantastic architecture. We're very happy that actually our 3D printing research, thanks to the effort of combined of faculty and students, have led to a couple of buildings that are today awarded with prestigious New European Bauhaus. We've been the winner on 2023. That's something very important for us because it means that the European Commission is selecting this project as a reference of the building of the future. That is something very big for us. And also a good surprise have been to be selected Building of the Year in the Archdaily community, something that pushes us very far. To conclude, we have a fantastic team around us that make this possible, and we're very proud of a couple of our alumni that came through the 3DPA and how are creating their own startup or are working into a very renowned industry or are already professor in university around the world. So we hope if you go through this program with us, you will also have such a successful future. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in the breakout room.
Thank you, Alex. Okay. Thank you again, guys, for joining us and for sticking with us. And now we're going to move forward to the masters or the programs and postgraduates that are more related to design. So I'm happy to introduce the Masters in Design for Emergent Futures, which is co-directed by Guillem Camprodon and Saúl Baeza Argüello. This is a program for those who are interested in design and turning their ideas into actions. So I think Guillem is sharing now. We can go ahead, Guillem.
Oh, sorry, maybe I did it too early. But anyway, thank you for having me for having me here. Yeah, so well, maybe in the moment in time that we're living, some of you might be wondering if we should continue to design. And because when we look at reality, we think that, yes, we should continue to design, and that design actually it's a solution to many of the consequences that we are suffering at the present time. More than 7 years ago, we created the Master in Design for Emergent Futures, a program that is led by Saúl Baeza, myself, together with Chiara Dalorio as coordinator, and a very unique program at IAAC because it's also a program in collaboration with Elizaba, which is well-known design school, I'll say one of the best design schools in Europe nowadays. Let me guide you a bit more through the program and why we put it together. So we believe the future is not to be consumed, but to be prototyped together. And we think that the only way that we could do that is to challenge the way things work today and to design for tomorrow. And for those of you who think that this is a program on futurism and speculation, I'm sorry, this is not. This is a program about embodying alternative presence. This is a program that is actually on not designing objects, but co-designing ecosystemic relations. So to us, objects range from algorithms to buildings, and we are here to think ahead and work in how all these very complex systems relate together. It's not also a program that it's aimed at a competitive race for solutions. It's a program that we look for collective meaning, and it's a program where we work together every year, where we all learn from all of us, and that we end up with a community of more than 25 students working as on a single project at the end, I will say, which is Statistic for Meaning. It's also not a program where we hand in a master project. I mean, it's a master, but it's a program where we want to empower you. We want to empower you to shape your own path and to create your own hybrid profiles. And it's a program where we allow you to bring your own agenda. It's a program where we don't define a specific, topic for your studio. It's a program where we don't come with an agenda as directors. It's a program where you bring your own agenda and we support you on that. But maybe the best way to describe the program is that this is a program on prototyping alternative presence. And it's a program very rooted into something that as a Fab Lab and being one of the oldest Fab Labs in the world, we learn a lot over more than 15 years of work, which is how to create prototypes that help us explore the present, help us question the current state of things, and help us also challenge the future, and help us not to think that the future is there for us to be consumed, but it's for us, of course, to be created and to be shaped. Welcome, so in a way, to the Master in Design for Emergent Futures. And let me guide you now a bit more into the grounding of the program. Let me guide you a bit more into how do we work. So this program starts because we've been part for many years of this very large Fab Lab network, makerspace network of more than 2,500 laboratories. And over the years, we found out that there's a lot of very large issues that we all care, such as climate change, democracy, that it's very hard to design for them. And we found out that the only way we could design for them is when we bring them to the scale of the person, or bring them to the scale of the humans. When we bring you to your own scale, and it's in there where we could start to design, it could start to design meaningful solutions that then we could scale, and then through strategies for replication, we could then, of course, impact much greater, and even come back to strategies that are adopted globally. Let me guide you how we do this in the program. So we start in the program by looking at how we go from these kind of things that worry you, which are very large, you don't know how to actually approach, into things that we could work with. And to do that, actually, we have a methodology we've been developing for many years. It's called the Atlas of Weak Signals. So it's not that you have to start thinking what you want to do next. You can come with your own design space, with your own interest, but we help you to source areas of intervention that are meaningful. And that's why in the first term, we spend quite a lot of time into what we call framing your design interventions. Then in the second term, you already have know what you want to work. You're already connected with these ideas. And we start to prototype interventions at the personal scale, at the scale of the home. And that is what we call, at the end of the day, embodying emergent context. It means imagining new ways of living, imagining new ways of inhabiting the world, and being able, through technology, to prototype them, to embed yourself in this new context. And then we go to the third term of the first year program. We go into actually being able to go from this very personal scale into starting to engage with others, with communities of practice, with the neighborhood, with the city. And that is actually where we start to go into challenging these alternative presence that you actually have imagined, that you have experienced yourself, into how they impact, how they are affecting the real world, how they are challenging the real world out there. But then we have a second year of the program where we actually focus in how do we go from these alternative presence, and we support you to actually create a strong project around them. And we do this actually by supporting you to go from alternative presence into emerging futures. So the second year of the program is very much rooted into becoming an action researcher, shaping your own path with a flexible part-time action research thesis in partnership with our network of experts, into three lines of work that also could merge together. A scientific ground for people that want to focus on academia and research, economic sustainability for those looking more into the sustainability of their practice from the point of view of creating a company, a startup, a venture, and the socio-ecological impact from those which are interested to engage more in collaborative and collective and community-based practices. The program structure, first year and second year, it's grounded in these 4 tracks: exploration, instrumentation, application, and reflection. Here you're seeing a summary of the first year of the program. And to give you a very short understanding on the exploration part, we focus on exploring what's out there. We focus on the state of the art of advanced technologies. On extended intelligence, for example, we're starting looking at AI beyond consumers, calling AI tools. In extended intelligence too, we actually bring AI into the world, looking at the agency of AI. In designing collective intelligence, we look at networks, autonomy, blockchain, distributed autonomous organizations, or for example, in Agriculture Zero, we look into how to grow almost anything, or in Living Materials and Biology Zero, we look at DIY bio for designers, designing with biology. So we equip you with a large and multidisciplinary range of tools which allow you to explore what's out there. In instrumentation, we teach you and we support you in learning how to fail fast and prototype very fast. We are a fab lab, so we are good at making prototypes, and we want to support you into actually being very good at making very diverse sets, from software to hardware, from bio to mechatronics prototypes. In application, that's a studio, and you choose, as you saw, how to actually develop your own path and to create their projects that make meaning to you. And in reflection, we help you to build a legacy and also the legitimacy into your own ideas. This track, it's grounded with top-notch people from the critical research perspective, philosophy. They bring to the program also this grounding that many times as designers we miss. We have topics such as living with your own ideas in first-person design research. We have design narrative, finding communication with your voice. We have the Beyond Talks, which is actually a very large set of conferences in collaboration with Elizabeth that you are part of them, or designing with others, which is actually how you engage with other communities in your design practice. So I hope this gives you a bit of a sneak peek of how do we work from the point of view of the diversity of topics that we touch and the structure of all these workshops that altogether made the first and second year of the program. We are grounded in a very large network. Over all these years, a lot of collaborators are here supporting as faculty, as mentors. Many of them also locally in Barcelona, which means that these allow you to engage, very one-to-one with them and also very grounded to the local context, which we think it's important for the program. And the program doesn't end up there. The program also has 3 special moments in time, actually 4. At the end of each term, we have the design dialogues where you share with a large audience of experts your work and you seek for meaning, you seek for feedback, and this helps you evolve. The images you're seeing in the first one are from the last design dialogues in January. We'll have the next one in March. So if you are in Barcelona, please join us. We also do yearly a research trip where we go on the field in special locations to research together into a situated context. The images you are seeing is from Mallorca. We are heading to the Italian Alps this year. And the last one is from the festival. Every year, all the members of the MDEF organize a festival that takes place in Barcelona in multiple locations. You are seeing here some of the work from last year from one of the groups that focus on how to reclaim e-waste that's locally produced and work with local communities to create new meaning into them, mostly related to creating sound, to working in sound education around schools. So this is a quick summary of the program. It follows the same structure as most of the programs that you've been presented today. 1 year or 1 and 2 years with 90 CTS, 120 CTS, with the uniqueness that it's co-led by 2 institutions, myself from IAAC and Solvaeta from Elizaba. And if you are interested to learn more about the details, the syllabus of each program, the faculty, and as well as the student websites that document the work that we do every day and every moment here at the MDEF, I recommend you to check this website, mdef.pablabcn.org. You could also find in this QR code. And we're looking forward to meet you at the breakout rooms and discuss more about alternative presence and emerging futures. Thank you.
Oh, I was muted. Thank you, Guillem. Now I know there was somebody asking in the breakout room about the postgraduate in textile and technology. This is the program that we will be presenting now. It's our postgraduate in textiles and technology, and it's directed by Santiago Fuentemilla and Petra Garajova. So I believe Petra is the one who's going to be presenting. Petra, let me know if you can share.
I think so. I will do it. Petra, yeah, Petra will not be able to do it. So let me share the screen.
Fantastic. Thank you, Santi.
Yeah. Give me a second. Can you see my screen, more or less?
It's
yes.
loading. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome everybody. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to present both programs. So I will do a little bit something different as it's been doing since now. And I will basically present 2 programs in one. Okay. Why I'm doing this, I will try to explain the similarities about 2 programs. Okay, and then the difference between or the particularities of both. So I have the luxury to be the director in Barcelona about these 2 programs. And I have an amazing coordinator that is Luciana Sinari, that a part of coordinating from the Barcelona site, it's also globally coordinating the programs worldwide. And I will try to explain now what this thing means. So we have 2 local instructors for each of the programs. So one is Daniel Mateos and the other one is Petra. And yeah, so basically that this is kind of like an introduction. So why I will do this presentation together is because sometimes these programs are being confused, probably for the similarity of the name. So both have Fab on front of the name. Also both are intense 6-month programs, postgrades, let's say, and both are tangible manifestations of the knowledge of a global network. This network, it consists in a digital fabrication laboratories or fab labs, let's say, around the world, originally created in the CBA in MIT. And the goal was to promote knowledge, accessibility of the new technologies in order to generate social impact. So this was the root, let's say, of these two programs. So both are happening, let's say, for more than 10 years, a little bit more, actually. And I think so we have enough experience to see the impact of this way of doing, let's say, over the world. As I was mentioning, so both are inside and a concept that is the Academanies, that is a collection of programs, distributed educational programs that have a deep implication in the way that we conceive, let's say, the process of learning nowadays. So this it means that each student attends a physical lab or a node where they have contact with peers and mentors and access to the physical infrastructure, the Fab Labs. And today we have more than, or we are part of more of 2,500 labs around the world. And some of the programs, they have, let's say, 70 nodes inside in different, in 40 different countries. Worldwide. So would it give you a perspective of how the impact of these technologies can be manifested through, let's say, different cultures or different ecosystems? So these nodes are connected into a global network, so using various tools and protocols allowing to connect and collaborate. So this makes the network tangible, enables students to interact not only with the local peers, but also with the vast global community. Okay. Fab Lab Barcelona is part of this global network, also part of Institute of Advanced Architecture of Catalonia. This, it means that the programs, or that we can offer, let's say, a multiple scales of how, let's say, technology can be related to the human habitat, but also we can extend, let's say, the impact of these technologies and this way of learning, let's say, in some other areas of interest that can come, for example, from sense making, or how can all of these technologies can, let's say, be involved in how we produce in the cities, how we can create new materials, or how can we learn, let's say, a little bit different. So what you are seeing here, it's a collection, well, the two cohort students from last year. So these students at Fab Lab Barcelona, they have the possibility to study in an interdisciplinary professional lab environment, creating a kind of like multiple interactions, not just with them, but also with this whole ecosystem of IAAC alumni and other master degrees. And I think so this is a huge value into the network, at least into the Fab Lab network and ecosystem, the possibility to come here and not just being in contact with the knowledge of this distributed educational program, but also, let's say, have the possibility to interact with all of students of IAAC in some other disciplines, architectural design disciplines. Overall, I think so both programs share, let's say, these learning principles. So this idea of distributed knowledge, I already mentioned it. The fact of prototyping, let's say, as a way of learning. So this idea of that hands-on experience, let's say, through the technologies. And I think so the ones that I think so it makes unique and really relevant. So emphasizing the open source approaches and accessibility to the technology. So this, it means that the tools and the resources that the students will use it are mainly focused in make it accessible for everybody, but also in terms of which kind of students and backgrounds they can access to this program. So there is no, let's say, prior background needed to access to this program. So it means that in the class you will have, let's say, all different disciplines and all different levels of knowledge, and also the impact of this. So how they will apply it after the program. So in which areas all of these skills will be manifested, let's say, are, let's say, hilarious and so different that is, I think, so what it makes super interesting. If we go a little bit into the particularities of each program, so we have Fabricademy. Fabricademy is again a hands-on distributed learning, as we was mentioning, but focusing in the intersection of the textile, digital fabrication, and biology. So the idea is to explore, let's say, future approach of sustainable textile, let's say, industry. So, and I will go a little bit more, but also connected to the again, the experts in the field, the industry, and then try to apply, let's say, this knowledge later on, let's say, in the industry. The program is divided in two main blocks in a way. So part number one is a skill capture. So it's 3 months where the students go weekly learning about different techniques and disciplines, and they have to basically practice that and get that skills. And then the second part that is more approach oriented or project oriented or development, where they have to basically focus for 3 months in a real project with a real case scenario. So in the first phase, so the skills that the students will develop are going, as I was mentioning, from, let's say, synthetic biology to digital fabrication to coding to biomaking materials, wearables, sensing. So how all of these new technologies, they can learn it deeply since the root or from the roots, let's say, to then apply it, let's say, into the projects. And if we go, let's say, in the kind of like range or variety of projects, so this is kind of like just like a brief, let's say, highlights of some of the projects, but you are see here different approaches from the material point of view. So upcycling, new ways of create new materials for, I don't know, textile industry, incorporating 3D printing techniques into the existing materials, developing new tools for synthetic biology making, or let's say digital or biomaking for the textiles. This is a video that summarizes a little bit, let's say, any images that I think so I will escape. If someone is really interested, then in the breakout rooms we can visualize it and talk about. And if we go into the Fab Academy, so Fab Academy, it goes into, let's say, mastering in rapid prototyping tools. So it was one of the first programs that, let's say, launched, let's say, the network. And at the beginning was kind of like more addressed to learn, let's say, what we call Fab literacy. It's again 6 intense months, or 6 or intense 6-month program that teach students the vision and design and prototype projects using digital fabrication tools. Again, it's really tangible. It's really hands-on. The idea is that the students not only get, let's say, hard skills, also, let's say, the soft skills, the skills that you need when you know deeply a technology that helps you to lead, let's say, with real problems, to solve these real problems. So this is a collection of different, let's say, final projects as the same. So in terms of the curriculum, this is, again, it's weekly based, but instead of 3 months, it's 6 month weekly based in different 20 topics. These topics goes from the tooling, digital tooling that you needed for digitalize information, fabricate this information, digital fabrication process, protocols for, let's say, manipulating information, this coding, AI, networking communication, and then how can you create impact with these tools, okay? Students have the opportunity to build their own portfolio, contributing not just to their own, let's say, benefit, showing, let's say, what they learn and how basically they do it, also contributing to a global repository. This it means that has been more than 70 years where students every year they document their work and they contribute basically to the learning of the next cohort. So nowadays we have a lot of repositories of students, let's say, going through the same experience, building knowledge on top of the other ones in an open way. Okay. And just to finalize, I think so sometimes it's better some image or some video from rather than my words. Let me put it in the beginning. So this is a final project of Fab Academy student from last year. And it helps me to understand, let's say, the relation between the technology, the prototyping concept, and how this can help into critical thinking.
Sandy, there's no sound in the video.
Doesn't matter. It's right
Oh.
there. I mean,
Okay. And maybe you can show it in the breakout.
with that, I will finalize. You see here, so how do you have to understand, let's say, deeply a technology, for example, 3D printing, to build on top something creative and something meaningful for the student. So the programs start in September and January, and applications are open. So if you have any questions, so I'm happy to answer in the breakout rooms. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Perfect. So guys, this is the moment that a lot of us have been waiting for. Thank you again for your patience, for your attention for all of the presentations, whether they were the programs that you had signed up for or not. Learning more about IAAC and joining us. I'm sharing my screen now because I am about to open the breakout rooms. So what's going to happen now is that let me move this away. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to activate the breakout rooms now. You will likely get a pop-up button that will have the different acronyms of the programs there. So whichever acronym is the program that you're interested in, you will join that room. Another way to get into the breakout rooms, is when you are in your command section of Zoom in the bottom, there are 3 dots that say more, and then you can choose the breakout room that you want to join. So I am opening up all of the breakout rooms now. They're in progress. So again, you should have seen a pop-up button with all of the different breakout room options. If you don't see it, go to the bottom of your screen where you can mute or unmute yourself. Go to the 3 dots and click there. There should be an option to say join breakout rooms. Let me just double check here that everything is open, but we should be good to go. So for those of you who are left in the main room, remember, before I start talking about this, if it's important that you know that, if you're really interested in a particular program, what I recommend is that you go to that breakout room because that's when they're going to be taking your questions about that specific program, or any questions that you might have about the schedule or the skills that you will learn there. So if you want to go to that breakout room, again, when you go to the bottom of your screen where there's the bar to mute yourself or send a chat, go to the 3 dots and in the button or in the pop-up menu, choose breakout rooms. But in the meantime, I am going to address the question about scholarships by Abhishek. And yes, IAAC does offer scholarships and funding for deserving students every year. Funding is limited, but we do our best to try to fund as many possible students. The scholarships that we offer are partial tuition discounts on the cost of the program. So the first one that I wanted to speak about, you guys, is the IAAC scholarship competition. This scholarship competition is open until the 28th of February, so the end of this month. This is a competition where applicants have to address a question specific to the master program that they're interested in applying to. So each master's program has its own prompt, and basically they will ask you to submit a design proposal or a project proposal regarding the scholarship, the project that is very specific to the program. And on top of that, we just ask for a very short 30 to 40-second video where you introduce yourself and your program, kind of like a pitch video for it. So important, this competition will close soon on the 28th of February. So if you want more details, in the next slide, we have the website for the scholarship, which is basically in the IAAC website. And then we also have the Colette Fund, but this one is a fund that is very specific because it's only for the postgraduate degree in 3D printing architecture and is open for African passport holders. This one, the Colette Fund, is open until the 31st of March. On top of, let me go to the next slide. On top of the scholarship competition and the Colette competition, we also have funds that are open year-round, but with limited funding. We have the Women in Tech Fund, which is a fund of scholarships dedicated only for women or individuals that identified as women. And we also have the merit-based grant. So these two scholarships or these two grants are open on a merit-based criteria. So in order to select students, whether they're going to receive the grant or not, is based on the entire profile that it's determined when you submit your applications. So the application to any scholarship at IAAC is connected to an application to a program. You cannot apply to a scholarship separately. You need to be applying to a program in order for us to connect you to a scholarship. But we do have this kind of portfolio of different scholarships that are available. So you can find out more about our scholarships at IAAC.net, /scholarships and fees. Danny can send the link. If you can help me, please. We will share the link on the chat. So I hope that answered your question. And I'm not sure if you're interested in another program and we can direct you to that breakout room, or if there's any other general information that you would like to know. Thank you, Dani. So Dani just put in the chat the link where our scholarships and our fees are located. So you can follow that link. And you can also see the special web page for the IAAC scholarship competition, which again is open until the 28th of February. Perfect. Ipatia, thank you for joining us. Yes, if you don't have any questions at the moment and you don't want to join a breakout room, you're more than welcome to disconnect. I hope that you got a lot of nice information about our programs, and please feel free to contact us. We've been putting our contact information in the chat. If you have any questions, we will follow up with everybody who attended this event via email as well. So you will have our contact information. Have a great rest of your day.